around to say hello. One-on-one, I'm so fly. You took a nosedive. Careful when you play on my level. For you, it's so. Hey, hello.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra. Flip the script.
Hello, Moto.
Lisa Philip, today India wants to know what really happened to Lisa Philip and what is the detail of the Epstein files that you now want to put before the world so that the guilty can be brought to justice.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me. I feel very connected to the Indian culture. And I think for me, I've always been pretty empathetic. And so I first started speaking out because I had a friend that was abused. And I had witnessed what she had gone through and the confusion that happened afterwards related to Epstein. And I felt like I wanted to speak out when Virginia Giuffre started speaking out because they had the same accuser, the same abuser, sorry. They had the same abuser. And so I felt like it was just something in me. I wanted to speak out on her behalf. And through doing so, I finally got the courage to start speaking about what happened to me. And since we all shared one of the same abusers, I just took me some time to build up that strength and that courage. But eventually I was able to get there.
So Lisa, tell me what really happened. How old were you? What were your interactions with Epstein or people connected with him? The chronicles of abuse that are now beginning to pour out. Where did it start? Where did your story start? And what has been your journey? Painful as it may be, it's important that people out there know what happened to you.
Yes, of course. I understand that. People like to know what happened, especially as it relates to someone like Jeffrey Epstein. I was a young model in New York City, pursuing my career, very happy, taking acting classes and just kind of living my life. I actually was friends with Rena during that time. And I booked a really important job to the Caribbean to shoot a magazine cover and spread. And I was booked with another model. She was an Eastern European model, beautiful, young. We were both in our early 20s. And we had an extra day to just do whatever we wanted to do. And the other model said, I have a friend who owns an island nearby, and I let him know that we're here. He said, that he'll send us a boat. We can hang out on the island for the day. And, I just trusted her, and I said, okay, sure, I'll go with you. And she had told me that this man had helped her to get her visa to live and work in the United States. And so she admired him and looked up to him. So I just blindly trusted her. And I went over to the island, and we spent the day there and, had a good time in the pool, met some other girls there, and had a wonderful dinner. And that's when I met Epstein. And then later on that evening, I was asked to do a massage and, just kind of went along with it with the other girl. And it ended up turning into abuse that night, sexual abuse. So that was just shocking to me because I had spent hours talking to this man and found him very charming and sincere. And I think he just got me to trust him. And so I think that's just what you call the grooming process. I mean, at the time, I just had no idea what was happening. And it was very confusing to me when I left the island and went back to New York. I went back to my life. Everybody loved Jeffrey back then and spoke highly of him. So it was kind of a confusing thing to see all these powerful people that admired him. And then, so I knew him for a couple of years after that. I mean, I didn't start seeing a lot of the red flags until a little bit later on when I started hearing things from other girls. And things weren't adding up after a while. And I never felt like I could say no to him because of the things he had helped me with. And I don't know, it's really hard to explain it. It would probably take a lot longer than right now. But I felt like in hindsight, looking back over it and speaking to many survivors, that he kept me in his world because I had seen a few things on the island and I witnessed a few things knowing him. So he kind of kept me close in that way.
At the press conference 2 days ago, you said there would be a client list that you would make. Who are these people? Who are these powerful people on that client list that you separately maintain?
Yeah, well, I think that got blown out of proportion there. I was not talking about a client list that I was going to release to the public, to you, to anybody. I said confidentially between us survivors. When it comes to Jeffrey Epstein, he was a master manipulator. I'm still confused about most of what I knew about him and saw in those years. And we as survivors are still figuring it out. So that's what I was saying. I was reaching out to the survivor community and saying, let's get together, let's talk, let's have conversations, let's heal, let's move through this. It wasn't so nefarious of just like, let's all write something down and just go shout it out, on the Capitol. It wasn't like that.
Were there many people, powerful people, connected people on the list, even if you don't want to share all the names?
I think the people are just more powerful than us, and there's probably a lot of dark and disturbing things that we would uncover, and maybe America's just not ready for that. I think there's a lot of reasons, and it's just not my responsibility to release names of anything I know or anyone else knows. The DOJ has everything they need to share. So I don't, again, feel like it's my responsibility.
Clearly, the DOJ has released some 34,000 pages. Not many people are saying there is even the tip of the iceberg that is included in the revelation so far. Have you seen those documents? Do you think there are names that should have been there, are not there? And do you think there is a Trump connection? Because after the press conference, Trump called this a Democratic hoax.
Not sure why. I mean, we were standing with quite a few Republicans, and it was, for us, it had nothing to do with this party or that party. We were concerned of it just being a human rights issue. So I'm not quite sure, what he was thinking about that. I know in my experience and from most of the survivors that I've talked to, Trump was never on our list of someone that we'd seen around or was involved in anything.